This is the story of one of the legends in software, José Valim. He created a language that made it very easy for anyone to create applications of the scale of companies like Spotify, Discord, or WhatsApp. José Valim is from Brazil, and he started working with Ruby and Rails in 2006. After a while, the Rails team thought he was good enough to be part of the Rails core team in 2010, after his work on a new version of Rails. He is Brazilian, now living in Poland. This guy is writing code or reviewing code every day. If you go to his GitHub page today, his contribution graph will look like this. This is crazy, he works in software pretty much every day. When starting his career, he first learned Ruby, and if you don't know about Ruby, it reads like plain English. The problem with Ruby, though, is and many other popular languages, is that they're not built to handle concurrency very well.
Working with Rails at the time, so sometimes we would make things faster, and what would happen is that we would improve things, but someone would do a bug report saying, hey, we are running this new version, and when they are under very specific situations, we would have a bug, and this bug would be hard to reproduce and hard to fix.
If you made your code to run concurrently, you start running into hard to reproduce issues. So why was Elixir created? Why did we need another language? We cannot start talking about Elixir without understanding how it's built, and what's behind Elixir is Erlang. Erlang is a programming language developed by Sony Ericsson and is currently maintained by them. This language was released in 1988. It was the same year the Atari 7800 was released. The focus of Erlang was to be used for
distributed, fault-tolerant applications with hot code swapping.
And the cool thing about Erlang is that all these buzzwords are true. Erlang can run distributed amongst multiple machines out of the box. It is fault-tolerant in that you can restart processes very easily and recover from failures, and it comes with hot code swapping. Now, José Valim noticed that this concurrency problem was already solved by Sony Ericsson. They have a ton of telephone infrastructure that has to run concurrently. They power all these using Erlang. Erlang, if you don't know anything about it, is this concurrent language that runs on something called the OTP, the Open Telecom Platform. OTP is a collection of tools that support Erlang. Not everything worked well at the beginning with Elixir.
Developers from this team at different periods of time, but I remember that so when Elixir first came out, it had a little of a pushback, exactly because, why a new programming language, right? What is the point? And one of their developers sent me an email saying, don't listen, just continue doing whatever you're doing. And that was a really, I think, maybe powerful advice, but reassuring, at the end, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it works, it works. Just go ahead, continue what you're doing, and have fun while you're doing it.
And not a lot of people know about what was the first attempt to create Elixir.
It was it didn't work. The reason why the prototype failed is because at the beginning, I was really trying to have Ruby in the Erlang virtual machine. So I was just trying to bring behavioral features that we have in Ruby into the Erlang virtual machine, and that did not work because they're really incompatible in a bunch of ways.
It failed because he was trying to copy everything from Ruby, and that made it really difficult to build some of the Ruby features in Elixir. All the Ruby features were not one-to-one compatible with Erlang, so it was really hard to make things fit in this new language. But instead, the second attempt was very different.
Why do I want to bring this over? And what I'm going to gain with this? And then, because then I could think about the problem in general, I want to bring this over because it allows me to do this.
José was asking himself, what am I trying to gain out of this new feature? Instead of trying to copy everything, he went with a different approach, which was more about problem solving and figure out what the new features offer the language and developers instead of trying to fit everything Ruby has in Elixir. Even nowadays, he's kept this mentality of trying to think about the problems instead of the solutions. This year, developers around the world have been asking about a type system for Elixir.
What is the elephant in the room? Any guesses? It's types, right? Because every time there is a discussion that says, hey, what would you like to have in Elixir? What is the number one answer? It's types.
But again, he's going back to the question of why do they want this? What problem are they trying to solve? So he's not going to just add types to the language because people are asking for it. He's going to try to figure out what they actually want, is it better documentation or something else. What is Elixir? Elixir is a layer on top of the Erlang virtual machine to make it easy to use. The benefit of Elixir is that it comes with all the very advanced features that we just talked about out of the box. All the features that Erlang has, Elixir has them too. Running code distributed from the get-go, fault tolerance, and the restarting of processes, hot code swapping, all of that is available in Elixir. So let's talk about WhatsApp. WhatsApp scaled to 465 million users in 2014. They received 19 billion messages and sent 40 billion. They have handled 150 million concurrent connections with a team of only 10 engineers. They have used the Erlang stack extensively. They use the Erlang database, Amnesia, and they've been wildly successful at scaling their application. They currently have over 1 billion users. WhatsApp is probably the largest and most widely used messaging application nowadays by far. I'm looking forward to see what Jose Valim and his team will create next. He's venturing into making Elixir easier to use for AI and machine learning. And even though I think machine learning has a very specific niche use cases, I'm excited to see what the future holds for Elixir.